Okay, Bucks lose to the Philadelphia Eagles 31-25 due to an intentional safety at the end of the game. Getting this out a little bit earlier because I had no videos to make for the late window. So yeah, let's get into it. First things first, I always like to start off these videos by, when the Bucks lose, give some credit to the team that won. So let's give some credit to the Eagles. I mean, there's a lot of things to give credit to them. I thought Jalen Hurts made a lot of really nice plays in the first half that really allowed for this big comeback to happen. There were plays when the Buccaneers had like a third down stop, and Hurts was able to use his legs to make something work. This obviously, we noticed Eagles defense is great, and the way they were able to cover down the field, I thought the Buccaneers pass protection held up better than I was expecting. Tristan Wirfs matters a lot, right? So having, now 3 starting linemen and the entire left sides, there, that helped things. The Eagles had to start blitzing to start to get pressure, but their coverage held up in the back end. So even with the injuries the Eagles have had, we'll talk about injuries. Neither team was at 100% in this game. And Nick Sirianni, with some, just offensive coaching staff in general, with some really clever concepts in the red zone, the fake tush push, both Dallas Goedert touchdowns. So give the Eagles a lot of credit. I mean, why do we even have to bother giving the Eagles credit? They're the defending champs who are 4-0. We know the Eagles are amazing. And heading into this game, for me personally, I was not expecting a win. Given no Mike Evans, no Luke Goedeke, those are 2 really important pieces offensively. I wasn't going in saying, this has to be a win. I was going into this saying it'd be great for it to be a win, but I was hopeful that the Buccaneers could show that they are a real threat in the conference, right? That's what you're looking at. This feels like it's going to be a playoff team, even though Atlanta had a bounce back win. Atlanta might be not as bad as they looked last week. That might have been an off week for them. So, only 1 game ahead now, but still, you feel like playoffs is more the floor than the ceiling for this team, when in previous years it was the ceiling, barring any major injuries. So because of that, you're looking to see, okay, Eagles they're the team to beat. They're the defending champs. How do you handle this? And right off the bat, it was very poorly. A decent first drive for the Buccaneers stalls, and then a blocked punt. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. Now, the Eagles blocked 2 kicks last week. They're good at this stuff. They're good special teams team. But, how has this been 3 weeks in a row where you've had either a blocked punt or a blocked field goal? The Texans game where it was a blocked punt and then a good punt return. Then, obviously, the horrible blocked field goal. I know Will McDonald grazed an offensive lineman's leg. It was still a blocked field goal. That didn't really impact the play, even if it should have been called a penalty. And then this week with the blocked punt yet again, and just completely puts you behind the 8 ball. You have the blocked punt, and then very quickly there's a 3 and out. The Eagles have a nice drive. They're able to march down the field and score a touchdown, and now you're down 14-0 already. You've completely changed the dynamic of this game. You don't know how much you can run the ball because the Eagles can milk the clock so well usually. So, that was just a concern, and part of me is is this game just over right here? Is this just not going to happen because of that situation? The Buccaneers got a couple of penalties, and also I gotta say, refs had a rough day out there. I was not thrilled with some of these calls. Some of them that went against the Bucs, some of them that went for the Bucs, I didn't love, including the Cooper DeJean stepping over, I believe it was Bucky Irving I think it was Rashad White, doing the Alvin Iverson step over, and it's okay, listen, I get that they've said they're going to put an emphasis on this, but that takes 1 second. I don't even know if Rashad White even noticed it that much. Is it kind of annoying? Okay, fine, you can find it kind of annoying. The fact that this gets 15 yards, can we make it 5 yards and no automatic first down or something? That was ridiculous, but again, as a defender, you can't do that. Buccaneers have to take advantage. They got it was actually a weird play where Baker Mayfield threw what looked to be an interception, and because of that, there was a blindside block on the return. Turned out to not be an interception, but the penalty still stood, so that another 15 yards. But other than that, there was really nothing offensively for most of this first half for Tampa Bay, and plenty offensively for the Philadelphia Eagles. Even when the Buccaneers had some concepts covered up, I thought Hurts did a great job at being mobile and being able to use his legs to make things happen. I thought Hurts had a really good first half, even if the numbers weren't spectacular. I already brought up the good play designs to get Dallas Goedert those touchdowns and things like that. So ultimately, you're this just feels like a mess. I mean, it was at one point 24-3, and things kind of turned with a special teams play. Live by the special teams, die by the special teams, and it was a record-breaking special teams play. It was Chase McLaughlin, who has now kicked the longest field goal outdoors in NFL history, because Justin Tucker and also the Dallas kicker, that I'm blanking on his name right now, they both had a 65 and a 66-yard field goal respectively, but both were in domes. So a little fun stat out there for Chase McLaughlin, and that was a line drive kick. It was fun. The crowd got into it for the first time all game, and it's like, okay, here we go. This is something. Again, it's 24-6, and the Eagles get the ball to start the half, but it's like, okay, at least there's something here. In fact, I was gonna, when I started the show, when I started this video, at the half, I was thinking, like, oh, it'd be fun, like a funny joke to be like, oh, now time for 10 minutes of kicking talk with Chase McLaughlin, just because I didn't want to talk about the game. Turns out I do want to talk about the game. This was exciting. So, yeah, they make that field goal, and all of a sudden, the defense really steps it up. And part of it was they did a great job stopping the run, which is something that it's part of why the Buccaneers have played the Eagles tough over the years. A.J. Brown being injured every time they play seemingly is a big part of it, but also a big part of it is they stop the run very well. And so when you stop the run, you get the Eagles in more obvious passing situations, which they can do, but that's not their specialty, right? So they get the Eagles in obvious passing situations with that, and then you have to play a lot of one-on-one matchups in the secondary. And what's interesting is that they did, an incredible job on A.J. Brown. 2 catches for 7 yards, and he was one-on-one a good chunk in this game. So that really just goes to show, Jamel Dean had some nice work in there. He got injured. Benjamin Morrison came in, and there was a key third down where it was Morrison Brown one-on-one, and Benjamin Morrison, the rookie, getting really his first time being an every down player and against an elite wide receiver and holding his own. That's exciting stuff. Zion McCollum was awesome in this game. That's exciting. Hard to blame the defense too much, even with the bad start to this game. And again, part of that was spotting 7 points right away with the punt. So really good stuff there. Todd Bowles with the adjustments, I thought, to get away from the zone coverage, try to play as much, it looked like he's playing a lot more man, especially on third downs, and again, really putting an emphasis on putting bodies on the line, stopping the run, forcing the Philadelphia Eagles to throw. I thought the Eagles got a little cautious as well. I think they should have thrown the ball a little bit more in the second half to try and, stick the dagger in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The flip side was the offense still wasn't going great, even with this new thing. They have a 4th down, they're not able to convert on. There's the fumble, but it was Baker Mayfield making plays, and he does remind you a little bit of Josh Allen sometimes, right? I'm not saying he's Josh Allen, but like you can get that kind of comparison of him throwing to Emeka Egbuka while off balance and making a perfect throw. Egbuka gets a 70-plus yard touchdown. Then the play later where Bucky Irving, that's a completely just broken play, try to make something happen, hits Bucky Irving down the field. That's a 70-plus touchdown. Okay, all of a sudden, there's a football game going on. And again, with the Buccaneers consistently being able to stop the run, it allowed for Tampa Bay to have chances. Now, obviously, the turnovers is just it's a big deal. 2-0 was the turnover battle, and that's the annoying thing about Jalen Hurts, right? When you're playing against him, is he's so good at protecting the football, even when things are going horrible. He did actually have a couple passes that could have been picked, one that probably should have been picked, but usually he's very good at not making the bad play, right? And if he has to rely on his defense to win a game, he's not afraid to do it, which, that's smart football. He's a good quarterback, and he was doing that. The fumble for Bucky Irving, I don't know. I do, as much as I like Bucky and how he runs, he's got to protect that football better. He never protects the football. I know he never will, but that just drives me crazy. Tampa Bay lost the game against the Falcons last year because he didn't protect the football. This, gave the Eagles not just a drive, but that was their one drive they were able to score at all in the second half on that, short field touchdown, which was a big deal in this game. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. The Baker Mayfield interception, I actually don't think was a bad play. It looks horrible on TV, but he was running, and if the ball gets there quicker, Jahad Campbell isn't anywhere in the picture, and Chris Godwin was wide open behind him for a touchdown. I think that's a good play. It's just the ball got tipped, and that slowed it down and makes it look like it wasn't open and goes right to a defender, which makes it look ugly there because there was another receiver kind of in the area, and it looked like Baker was throwing to him, but he wasn't. He was throwing to Godwin in the back of the end zone. So I don't think that was a horrible play. Granted, Baker Mayfield has been playing with fire all season. He going into this week, he was like tied for second in most turnover-worthy plays, but didn't have a turnover. So kind of that's football gods work in mysterious ways sometimes. That's how it worked. The Buccaneers got the ball down 8, which is it's so hard. Down 8, you got to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. The fact that Brady did it in the Super Bowl twice in one game in 28-3, like that's not the norm. That doesn't usually happen, and it wasn't just him; it was the Patriots' offense. But you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, listen, Eagles are a really good team. They are. Philadelphia Eagles were able to make a lot of plays, and they were able to ultimately the better team won in this game. But I do feel a little like, can you make the comparison to when the Buccaneers lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2020? And that was looked like it was going to be a complete blowout. The Buccaneers made it a 3-point game, couldn't quite finish the deal, and they lost the regular season, but they found something in that game. They found a playbook they were able to use in the Super Bowl to blow out the Chiefs. I'm not saying it'll go exactly that same way, but is there maybe something there? If Todd Bowles certainly found something defensively of how he wants to play the Eagles, and you have to think he'll use that when they play again. Todd Bowles, one of those coaches that his win percentage goes up when he plays a team a second time, although Nick Sirianni, I think, is a great coach too. I have to say, this is a bit of a weird tangent to go on, but the Philadelphia Eagles all week were talking about how they're going to handle the warm weather. And, I'm assuming a lot of you watching are native Floridians. I've lived in Florida all my life. And I was kind of like, you don't really get acclimated to it, right? It just kind of is what it is. But I almost feel like there's some mental thing to that of like, you're getting everyone on board, you're getting everyone ready, you're showing like, no, we're going to, it's like a mental thing. I don't think being actually acclimated to the weather changed anything, but I think there's something to like just the camaraderie and the teamsmanship of doing stupid stuff like that together. It can kind of get you motivated for the game. I don't know, maybe that's nothing, but Nick Sirianni yelling at Baker Mayfield at one point, he's I think they said it on a broadcast, he's the Baker Mayfield version of a head coach, and hey, can't argue with the success. So yeah, I mean, listen, I feel much better about this game than I did at halftime. I'll certainly say that. I do think that I would have liked to see more offensively. I think that the offense really still never felt like smooth. It was either getting big plays down the field, or it was like, even at its best, it was 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Like, you're moving, but it's like difficult. And that's why they ultimately weren't able to get the win. I think that they needed more from the other receivers. And, Chris Godwin showed you some life here. Shepard had a couple of catches. Egbuka had the big one, but they weren't able to consistently get things going. And with Mike Evans out there, even though his numbers haven't been spectacular, Quinyon Mitchell was awesome against Egbuka. Got away with a few holds, but again, I'm not going to complain about the refs. I'm not a blame the refs guy. Both teams had penalties that benefited them. But Egbuka was really struggling, or Chris Godwin was really struggling when they were matched on Mitchell. If Mitchell's on Evans, well, that means that everyone else can play the depth players, which you can potentially exploit a little bit more. It means you can't fully help out the depth players in the secondary because of that. So ultimately, listen, 2 good teams played each other. Someone had to win. Would have loved for it to be the Buccaneers, but with a blocked punt touchdown and losing the turnover battle 2-0, to lose by 1 score the way this game went, it could be worse. It really could. So I'm not going to panic. Now, let's preview the next stretch. So I kind of talked about weeks 1 through 4. I wanted to see the Buccaneers. I really wanted to see them go 3-1. And especially given the state of the Texans, I definitely would want a 3-1 start. And that's what happened. Beating the Falcons, beating the Texans, beating the Jets, and then losing to the Eagles. So the next stretch I kind of talked about is a 5-week stretch, because it would be the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Lions, then the Saints and the Patriots. Saints and Patriots aren't bad, but again, you hope that you can beat both of those 2 teams. And then with the Seahawks, 49ers, and Lions, Those are 3 good teams, and you can't guarantee wins anywhere in that stretch. So I don't know. 3-2 feels like what you have to do to keep pace right here for playoffs. You want 4-1. That might be too much to ask for. So 3-2, because again, you can't guarantee any wins, even to Saints and Patriots. But yeah, got to go at least 3-2 there. Hopefully 4-1. At one point I thought in the first half, like, I'm not mad that they're going to lose this game. I'm mad that they don't even look competitive. Well, I guess I can't be mad anymore because they look competitive. But I still guess I was a little mad that they're going to lose the game because I still would have liked to see things go better. But clean up special teams, get healthier once again. Don't avoid any. Hey, there was no major injuries in this game. Bucky Irving got banged up for a bit, but he came back in there. I guess Jamal Dean got hurt, but they had depth there, so they're okay. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, not the worst loss, but not the best one either. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.